The silence was suffocating. 6 weeks of marriage, and not once had she touched me. Not a hand held, not a fleeting brush of fingers, not even the warmth of a shared breath. I confronted her, calm, precise. Her reply sliced through the room like a blade. My body is my choice. You can't demand anything. She said it without blinking, without hesitation, as though she'd rehearsed the line in front of a mirror. The words hung between us, heavy, poisonous. I nodded slowly. No arguments, no pleading, only stillness. But inside, something shifted, a fracture. That night I lay awake staring at the ceiling, her back turned toward me, the faint glow of her phone lighting her face in the dark. I didn't ask who she was texting. I didn't ask why her smile appeared only when she thought I was asleep. Instead, I decided, if she wanted distance, I would give her distance, through the courts, through annulment. And in that decision, the first seed of truth began to grow. I replayed every moment from before the wedding, her laughter, her sudden affection, the way she had leaned closer in photographs. It all seemed rehearsed now, polished, performed. After the wedding, the mask slipped. She grew colder, detached, mechanical in her routine. Every evening she would lock herself in another room, whispering into her phone. I told myself not to suspect. That suspicion was poison. That trust was marriage. But trust should not feel like suffocation. The first real crack came late one night. She murmured a name in her sleep. A name that wasn't mine. I froze. The sound of it was foreign, but spoken with tenderness. Too tender. When she woke, I said nothing. I pretended to still be asleep. But inside, the silence was tearing me apart. It wasn't just avoidance anymore. It was something deeper, something hidden, and I needed to know. I began my investigation quietly. Her phone. I memorized numbers she dialed most often. One repeated itself, always late at night. Her spending. Receipts tucked into her purse from restaurants I'd never been to, dates we never shared. Her expressions, that fleeting softness in her eyes when a message appeared on her screen, an expression she had never once given me. I became an observer in my own house, a stranger in my own marriage. But outwardly, I was calm, polite, indifferent. The more she hid, the more I saw. One day she left her hairbrush on the counter. A few strands of her hair clung to its teeth. I collected them, sealed them, and sent them for testing. It wasn't paternity I wanted, it was confirmation of the man behind the name she had whispered. The waiting was unbearable. Days stretched thin. I spoke little, ate little. She noticed my silence, but mistook it for surrender. In reality, I was sharpening the knife of truth, quietly, patiently. When the envelope finally arrived, I held it for hours before opening it. Because once the truth is known, there is no return. The report was clinical, precise, unforgiving. Her genetic material matched with his. Repeated encounters. Indisputable evidence of intimacy. The name on the report was the same name I had heard whispered in the dark. I sat in silence, absorbing the weight of it. There was no anger now, no grief, only clarity. That evening, she sat in the living room sipping tea. I placed the envelope in front of her without a word. She opened it casually, then froze. Her hand trembled as her eyes scanned the lines. Color drained from her face. Where did you get this?" I leaned back, calm. "The truth finds its own way," I said softly. She looked at me then, searching for anger, for shouting, for rage. But I gave her nothing, only silence. And that silence crushed her more than any scream could. The next day, I filed the annulment officially. When I told her, she broke. Tears, begging, excuses. It was a mistake, a weakness. I still love you. I watched her crumble on the floor, clutching at my legs like a prisoner begging for mercy. but I remained still. "Do you remember what you said?" I asked, voice low. "My body, my choice." She froze. Her tears stopped mid-flow. The words returned to her like shackles. "Yes," I continued, "and now, my decision, my choice." Her sobs echoed through the room, but they didn't touch me. I was beyond reach. She had built this prison herself, brick by brick. I had simply closed the door. I gathered my papers, stood, and left the room. Not a backward glance. Not a flicker of pity. I wanted her to drown in her own silence. The morning I moved out, the house was eerily quiet. I packed my belongings methodically. Shirts, books, documents. Each item a reminder of the life she had already buried long before I chose to. When I walked past her room, the door was half open. She sat on the bed, hollow-eyed, staring at nothing. For a moment, our eyes met. Her lips parted as if to speak, but I didn't wait for the words. I stepped outside, closed the door. The air felt different, lighter. She had lost everything. I had lost nothing but illusion. There was no anger left in me, only clarity. No grief, only freedom. I realized then, betrayal doesn't destroy you, it liberates you. And as I walked away, I understood the final truth. When love rots into deception, the only power left is the silence of walking away. And I chose silence.